for you all, and I'm going to get right to it. All right. Tucker Carlson backslides. Tucker Carlson complains about the election wasn't um, fair after he criticized Sidney Powell for not turning over evidence of voter fraud. Tucker says other countries understand it that they do not use electronic voting because they know it undermines confidence in democracy, said Carlson. Tucker thinks we should revert to the traditional system of voting. He states that the system was rigged in ways that were not hidden from view. He says Joe Biden and Kamala Harris failed to say what they would do if they won. So that's what Tucker Carlson is saying. He's basically backslid because at first he was saying that Sidney Powell wouldn't turn over evidence and stuff like that. Now he's saying there is voter fraud. So I don't know when Tucker Carlson changed his mind, but he did. Okay, Alan Dershowitz says Trump wants Congress to decide the election, and that strategy could win. Former Harvard Law School professor says Trump wants to throw the election into the U.S. House of Representatives. Allen says the real end game for Trump is not to get Joe Biden to 270, or not to get to 270, but to keep Joe Biden from getting to 270. Allen says at this point Joe Biden would have 306 if all 50 state governments were to certify their unofficial vote totals. Allen says he doesn't think this is a charade of some kind. He said the claims are largely sound. Pennsylvania state legislature holds a public hearing on the 2020 election. Pennsylvania state legislative holds a hearing on election issues, irregularities. Voters that reported to the polls fraud out they already voted. Canvassers were not allowed to see 700,000 votes counted. Mail-in ballots don't add up to the number of requested ballots. An official posed a bill to stop mail-in ballots, and the governor said that if it hit his desk, he would veto it. So, the evidence in the Pennsylvania state legislature is the evidence that was taken to Pennsylvania judge, and that's how the certification for Joe Biden got blocked because of this yesterday's public hearing on the 2020 election. Questions were asked why machines made in Germany counting American votes. Trump called in and gave his observation. He said Rudy Giuliani was the only one to stand up while other lawyers were scared to stand up. So this is the reason you see his case is being thrown out, because a lot of people won't stand up. A lot of people are scared. A lot of, the judges won't make decisions. And some people just don't want to get involved because they will risk their lives. So this is why you see Trump stuff getting thrown out, or judges backing off, or lawyers quitting and refusing to do certain things because they're all scared, or either they think it's not true. So, in that meeting, it said dead people requested ballots, judges, officials to make decisions. They have 100 affidavits, more votes then you have voters. Trump says they are getting little help from the government. Trump says that um, they want him to worry about this 4 years from now. They said, they told Trump not to be bothered with it right now, but he didn't want to listen. This is why you have the lawsuit. Now, Stacey Abrams also announced 750K of mail-in ballots for Georgia's runoff have been requested. Also, so I want to throw that in too. Mail-in ballots for the Georgia. Also, it said 15,000 dead people voted in other states. Trump said they got caught just like they got caught spying in his campaign. So that's basically the gist of the election, the Pennsylvania election meeting yesterday, and that's what got Joe Biden's certification blocked by a Pennsylvania judge. Next topic. Nevada judge agrees to hear Trump campaign evidence of alleged voter fraud. The evidentiary hearing is set for December the 3rd. Judge James Russell of the First Judicial District Court will hear from attorneys representing President Trump's campaign at an evidentiary hearing December 3rd, at which up to 15 witnesses may be disposed, Russell said. The complaint is limited nature, challenging basically the machine used in Clark County. Trump's attorney Jesse Bennell said that the bulk of the evidence will come from a deposed witnesses. They have whistleblower testimonies. Joe Biden beat Trump by 33,000 votes, but the Trump campaign says there is enough evidence of voter fraud to overturn the results. So that's what's going on in Nevada. Now, Obama chimed in on the election, and he said that Hispanics ignored Trump's bigotry because they liked his views on same-sex marriage. Obama said that Hispanics ignored Trump's racism because they support him on gay marriage and abortion. Obama was on the Breakfast Club to talk American politics in the Trump era. He said there is a lot of evangelical, I cannot pronounce that word. Evangelical Hispanics who, the fact that Trump says racist things about Mexicans or put undocumented workers in cages, he says they think that that's less important than the fact that he supports the views on gay marriage. He supports their views on gay marriage. Obama said on CNN Trump won a large percentage of Hispanic voters in 2020 than he did in 4 years ago. And I would like to add to that I saw an article, and Hispanics said that they voted for Trump because Joe Biden was pandering to the black community. Okay, that's what was said. They said that he took Joe Biden took his focus off of the Hispanics and started focusing on the black vote, because every election they go to the black community and try to get the black people to vote. So the Hispanics said no, or the Cubans said that. The Cubans said no. Since you want to focus on them, we'll just go to Trump. He'll focus on us. So that's what happened. Ooh, I'm hot today. Now, Supreme Court blocks strict COVID-19 restrictions on some New York houses of worship. The court placed religious freedom before pandemic precautions. Wednesday night, the restrictions restrict gatherings at houses of worship in areas hit hard with COVID-19. The ruling conservative majority ruled 5-4 that Andrew Cuomo's limited on churches, synagogues, and other houses of worship to 10 or 25 worshipers in hard hit regions. And it says it appears to violate the First Amendment free exercise clause. And the court says even in a pandemic, the Constitution cannot be put away and forgotten. The restrictions ban many from attending religious services, and it strikes at the very heart of the First Amendment's guarantees of religion and liberty. They can hold services at 5% capacity. So Andrew Cuomo was putting up COVID-19 restrictions, and that's what the Supreme Court said. They said in a pandemic, the Constitution cannot be put away. So with all this going on, if you don't have a religion, if Joe Biden gets in, religion will protect you from getting these vaccinations and all that, because you can do a religious exemption. You can do a religious exemption in the schools and all of that. So a lot of people don't deal with religion right now, but when the government starts forcing things on you, you might want to use your religious rights for protection. So that's what's going on in the news. Nevada, they're going to hear Trump's evidence on voter fraud. Alan Dershowitz gave his opinion on what Trump was doing as far as throwing the election in the House of Representatives, and Tucker Carlson backslid, and now he's saying that the election is fraud after he criticized Sidney Powell. So tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Salon B. Have a great Thanksgiving.